Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Diana Minotti Fine Art Antiques and Collectibles. It's a day in the life of an estate appraiser and liquidator called Diana's Treasures. I'm here with my husband, Perry Matrano.
Hi, good morning, and good to have you back, Mia. Really good to have you back.
Oh, thank you. That was a tough one.
I did the best I can.
You did a lovely job, didn't you, Mark? I thought he did
we didn't
great.
Lose any listeners.
With our fossil hunters last week.
They were interesting, though. Yeah.
Well, you want to introduce this week's guest?
Yeah, we have Amy Caratanudo here from the Humane Society. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. Good morning. I appreciate you having me.
Well, if I can just tell everyone where we are and where we're located, and then we could get the show on the road. How's
All
that?
right.
Okay, so we are located at 15 Palm Harbor Village Way, right here in the city of Palm Coast, 32137. That is Florida. If you're driving down 95, you just punch in Antique Shops, and you will find us. It's Diana Minotti Fine Art Antiques and Collectibles. There you will find us with wonderful pieces, artwork, statues, bronzes, ceramics, tea sets, you name it. We have it, okay? And today we have some very interesting artwork that we will be sharing on the YouTube channel. And a lot of it has to do with our lovely pets. So that's why we have Amy on here today.
The dog lady.
The dog lady.
Well, what we're trying to bring up in focus is the Hang 8 dog surfing event, which on Saturdays I'm usually doing an estate sale, but I hear it is quite the show. What is this out at Flagler Beach?
It's the best event ever. It's my favorite thing to go to. This is the fourth year. This was the brainchild of Flagler Beach residents Eric Cooley and Susie Johnston and their dog Wednesday, who is a surfing Chihuahua. And so, why not have a surfing contest? Because Wednesday is awesome. Like, she's a star for sure.
Oh, that sounds so neat.
Yeah.
Well, when we were talking about this, you said 400 dogs come out?
What?
I think last year it was about 400. I don't know.
That's incredible.
That's just a guess because I was there in the middle of it. But it was packed with not all 400 dogs surfed.
Right.
But just, people and their pets coming out to watch the contest and just, have fun and check out all the booths and everything. It's just such a fun event. And the dogs really do, you can tell they're having fun while they're surfing.
I'm not going to be here, but I wish I was. I would definitely go down.
Yeah. Next year you have to block off the day. No sales that day.
I hope to.
And come out and see. All right. Well, so how many dogs participate then?
I think it was probably a couple of dozen, and they have different categories, different size dogs. And some of the dogs surf with their owners on the board with them. And then some of the dogs, the owner's out there with them, helping them paddle out. And then they turn the board around and the owner kind of helps steer them and push them off, and they surf all the way into the shore. It is so cute.
Well, hopefully someone will have a camera on their dog as they go. Mm-hmm. Is that the brochure right there? Let me hold it up for you.
Yes.
While you're talking.
All right. So this is for Saturday. That is May
17th.
Okay.
It starts at 8 a.m., so got to get an early start. That's, like I said, it gets crowded, so you want to get there early. There's a ton of amazing sponsors. I can name a few if you
please do.
Give me a second. There's Pet Paradise, Houndstown, Chenzo Webb, David Allen Wolf, Boney Booty's Beach Rental, Chimes, Ocean Palms, Grand Living, Real Estate, Flip Flop Guys, Dexter Dog Snacks, Seagate Homes, Good Times Dog Bar, Palm Coast to the Beaches, Salty Turtle, Funky Pelican, HT Productions, Tortugas, Compass by Margaritaville, 7-Eleven, Flagler Beach, Salty Paws, the Animal. And there's more sponsors than that even. This is such a popular event. All the cool kids are sponsoring this event.
Yeah, we need you to go visit those sponsors. That's the key to this whole thing. They're supportive of the community. So if you guys could get in there and get a burger or pick up something in the store, that's really helpful.
They're selling T-shirts for Hang 8 T-shirts.
Which I hear that T-shirt gets sold out every year,
yes.
too.
Yes.
Well, why Hang 8? What is that? What's the Hang 8 mean?
Well, I think Dogs don't have thumbs, so instead of hang 10, it's hang 8.
Okay. Thank you.
That is pretty good, right?
Yeah. So what kind of money does this potentially raise every year?
Geez, I think it's getting bigger every year. The proceeds, it's a free event to attend. So just while you're there, if you purchase, like you were saying, purchase food, leave donations, but it's free to attend. And the proceeds that are made during the day are divided up between 3 animal organizations. So much appreciated.
Which is the Humane Society, which you're part of, the executive director. And then what are the other 2 groups?
Canines for Warriors, which we work with. We help them. We supply some of the dogs for Canines for Warriors. And then SMART, Saving Missing Animals Response Team.
So canines, that would be sort of like for PTSD situations where
correct for
veterans would get
for veterans. And so what a feel good, what a win-win for the animals, for the veterans. It's a great organization.
And that group actually gets dogs from you.
They do. Yeah, they come up. They get dogs from several places, but they come up to the shelter quite often and kind of test out our dogs and see who might be a good service dog for a veteran. So,
which breeds make good service dogs?
They mostly look at the larger breeds, and a lot of ours are mixed breeds, of course. So they've taken everything from shepherd mixes to pit mixes, lab mixes, hound mixes, everything.
And then SMART, what is SMART again?
Saving Missing Animals Response Team.
Okay, so that's your pet goes missing, they'll help in the search and rescue.
Facebook, there's a Facebook page.
Prizes. Now I see there's prize. So what do you give the winning? Is it the top 3 surfers? What do you give them?
They get they get like custom made trophies that are really again, like, this is such a cool event. It's they display the trophies ahead of time, and they're always unique, and just it's such a cool event.
Now, will you bring dogs out to the event for adoption?
For sure. Yes, we'll have adoptable dogs there. They won't be surfing. We haven't had time to teach them to surf, unfortunately. but maybe next year. I know there was an adopted dog that was a puppy when he went home was at the shelter yesterday, and they were talking about bringing him to the surf contest, and they're saying next year he's going to be one of the surfers.
Now I know you talk about this all the time because you have a show. Tell us about your show, because it's here on WNZF. And what day is it? What time? And what do you talk about?
Shameless plug, right? Our show is Speaking of Animals. It runs Saturdays at 8 a.m. and we just talk about all kinds of different anything to do with animals. Whether it's goats, pigs. Snakes,
that was
cats,
a question
dogs.
I had, Amy. I actually wanted to know, what was the most exotic pet that you have ever gotten at the shelter? And then, how often do you see birds and, those more exotic birds, the parrots and stuff? How often do you see all that?
I think the weirdest animal we've ever gotten at Flagler Humane Society was a poisonous centipede that was probably 10 inches long or so. And we ended up transferring him to Gainesville. There was a place that he could live out his life and not be a poisonous centipede living at Flagler Humane Society.
Where would we get a poisonous centipede?
I don't even remember. It was probably like a case, we end up on neglect cases a lot. And so that's how we get some of these weird animals. I think people obtain kind of animals that maybe are, I don't know.
It's just very exotic.
Yes.
So
just to get, I think people get animals sometimes for attention. It's a novelty. And then they get in over their head. They don't realize animals have very specific needs.
Yeah,
and so sometimes
those parrots and stuff, they live for 50 years,
yes,
right? So
yes,
how do you deal with that when they come in? What do you do?
That's quite the commitment.
Mind blowing. Yeah.
It is a commitment.
Yeah.
I remember when when I was on Broadway and Bleecker downtown in New York, and one of our assistants, he was an artist, and he worked for Hunt Slonim, the artist, and he had an entire loft space of crazy. He said some animals he never saw; they only come out at night. And what he had no idea in the commitment while he was away filming, he would go in to feed the animals. He says, I got to set aside hours of cutting up rare and exotic fruits for the birds and certain things for the hogs. And there was all these animals. It was like a very, very big regiment. So
Yes.
I think people really do have to take in consideration before they get a pet.
You would
Yes.
think. Yeah,
Yes.
it's disappointing
You would
because
hope.
people, they go to these stores that sell the pets, and then, 3 months later when the dog is defecated in the house, made a mess, they can't take it anymore, and they
Right.
just drop it off to you.
Yes.
That is the most disappointing thing, I think, in humans that we could, for when it comes to animals, that you could really look at. It's horrible, but, and then you have to deal with it, and hopefully you do find homes for those.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so disappointing that people can look at an animal as like disposable. But yeah, we're luckily we are doing very well with adoptions. Last year we had a record number of adoptions, 2,154 adoptions, and right now we're on track to even have more adoptions in 2025. So, but like you say, it's unfortunate that the animals end up at a shelter in the first place. Why can't people just commit and
Well, but you know what? If it's not for you, then
for sure,
find somebody
yes,
that'll make that pet, make it their pet. And
For sure.
Make it a better
Yep.
better situation than being neglected.
absolutely.
So why don't we get on to our show and tell?
Is it time? Mark, is it time?
I think it's time.
I wait for Mark's cue, because then I know. So my favorite part of the show is show and tell. And, as a child, right, you were in school and there was always that show and tell, and everybody loves to show what they have. So in our case, we have items from our shop, or Diana calls the gallery because it's an art gallery. I call it a shop. And we oftentimes have these beautiful pieces that people have collected that we have for sale. And I'm going to start off with this before we go to the artwork, because the artwork I have to get up and switch it out for you so you could do all the explanations. So, Diana, what is this piece, and how old do you figure it is? And there on top of it is, what kind of dogs are these? These are hounds?
Oh,
Amy, you think?
it's 19th century, and it's a porcelain
Hounds.
pitcher, and it has some lusterware. It's beautiful. The hounds on it are extremely well done. I'm assuming it's probably English. Most of the early portraiture
That's good, Mark.
depicting, their prized dogs. They would have their prized horses or cows. It was very much an English tradition, was to have those painted and hanging over the mantle.
What year would you think that is?
I said 19th century.
19th. Oh, sorry. Okay. What do you have over there?
Well, this is actually from our personal collection, but I thought it was just well worth showing. That is an Aigle mosaic. It's reverse painting on glass, and it is depicting Saint Hubert, who was the patron saint of hounds and hunting dogs and the forest. So you see he's kneeling, he's got his hounds around him, and he's actually kneeling to the stag. And this over the stag's horns is a cross. And usually in Christian iconography, that would represent Jesus. And he's paying homage. I thought it was just a beautiful image.
When you say it's our person, I didn't know we owned one.
Oh, my goodness. It's
All right, good looking.
it's right outside Joseph's room in the hallway. I love that painting.
No comment.
We had an entire collection. We sold all of them. I had purchased that one to keep because I just liked it.
I
so
see
much.
you got some little cute items there. Can I hold them up?
Okay, well, this is a little
Oh,
metal piece. That's what they consider end of day in the factories when they were making metal objects and they had a little bit left over. They would then put them into molds and make little figurines. And so we've had at the gallery horses and dogs and cats and little cars and things like that. Isn't that cute?
It's cast iron, is what it is.
And this one, this is porcelain. And it's gold leafed.
So we have a schnauzer.
Is it a, what is that? What it is? A schnauzer, or is that a
Looks like a
Scotty?
Scotty,
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
Okay,
All right.
Scotty or
Sorry.
Westy.
Now we're going to get emails and stuff
All
because I
right.
called it wrong.
And then here's another little piece of porcelain.
And that's genuine gold leaf, right?
Well, I don't know about that. You could go home. You could take it to the gallery and test it. And this is a porcelain that looks like a toy poodle. Isn't that cute?
Looks like a big one, standard, right?
So what we find is when people have collections of these small miniatures, they either buy like a wall-mounted
Good mark.
curio, or we've sold many a times the printer's drawers where they would have the printing blocks, and instead they would hang them up on the wall and put little figurines and things in them. Like it was Wade's Tea. The English tea company used to have a little figurine in the tea canister with every purchase. So there's a lot of collectibles of those. You want to show the Sharpays?
I can't. Did Diana tell you that you were supposed to bring something in to show us?
I think she did, and I forgot.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure who to blame.
You can blame me.
all right. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to switch the artwork out.
So the paintings that we have came from a collection of recent. We had an estate sale from Miss Edith, and she was a New York antique dealer, and she had lots of paintings and sculpture and furniture, antiques, and whatnot. Now this is a reproduction. It's not. I don't think it's antique, but it is oil on canvas, and those are Sharpays, and those are cute, aren't they?
Yeah, that's beautiful for sure.
And the gold leaf frame is carved and very ornate. It is signed on the lower right, and it's in really good condition. So I can see that being in somebody's home.
I mean, I think like what I see here is someone spent a lot of money to actually make something beautiful with their pets, and that's what I think that is.
Well, pet portraiture, pets have been depicted throughout history, and in fact, I wanted to figure out like when was like the first one. They say back in India 9,000 years ago, during the Bronze Age, you would find depictions of dogs painted on the cave walls. Ancient Greece and Rome, they loved their dogs. They were symbols of faithfulness and courage, and you would see them depicted on the Greek amphoras and vases. As you know, the Egyptians were buried with their cats, so pets were very, very important. It continues on throughout the ages of people with their pets. As I think what makes it most familiar for our society, though, is beyond the Renaissance and the 16th and 17th century, we get into the 19th and 20th century is when the Kennel Club, I think, started in the 1880s, and where people not only just prize their possessions, but there was competitions and what do we see after Thanksgiving parade? The Kennel Club at Madison Square Garden or wherever, and it's a very, very big annual thing. And so the wanting of having that pet painted, it was as important as a portrait of a family member. Is you would have a pet, and that would be over the mantle. What kind of dog is that?
That looks like some kind of, I don't know if that's a Sheltie or a Pom. No, it's not a Pom. But
So we got it all wrong because we're calling it a collie, and it's not a collie, and it's not a long-haired Chihuahua either. But it's cute.
I think Sheltie.
Yeah, I would go with that. And that's in a very handsome frame, black and gold. So we have this piece, and then
And this is an oil on canvas.
yes,
And is this old or?
that's also a reproduction. Now this next one though is got some age to it. And I don't know what kind of hounds those are. I had a German Shepherd growing up. What kind of dogs did you have, Perry? You had a lot of dogs.
Long-haired Chihuahuas,
teacup
poodles, teacup, Yorkie, which was like 1 3/4 pounds. She was cute. Maltese. The Maltese loved me. I used to leave the house and the dog would sit by the door, my father said, until I came home. So yeah.
What kind of dog is that?
I don't know.
Some kind of...
There's the one up in the chair looks a little spaniel-y.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if the big one came into the shelter, we'd probably call it a mix.
That's an Italian hound.
Oh, Italian greyhound,
sure.
maybe. Yeah.
That's that. What's that floppy-eared?
Those look like spaniels up on the chair,
yeah.
from what I can see.
That looks like a border collie.
Maybe, yeah.
So
yeah, like I said,
there's also oil and canvas.
Yeah.
You know.
I was hoping, Kathleen Lesby, please forgive me. I should have gotten in touch with you sooner. She is a local portrait artist in Ormond Beach and does incredible artwork. She does children too, but she started out, I think, more with pets. And so a shout out to Kathleen if you're interested in getting your portrait. Your pet portrait done. I say she's an excellent source.
So this next one I'm going to put up here is really a lot of fun to look at. This is reminiscent of what year would you say? The Velvet?
Oh. I forgot about this one. Perry snuck it in. I totally forgot.
Well, it's cute. I mean,
it is cute. It's like 1970s retro. So
that is cool.
All the hipsters will love this.
I like that.
It's on black velvet and sort of cartoonish. And he is also at the gallery.
He is cute.
Is it really? I don't know what it is, but he's cute.
I think Perry did good sneaking that one in on you. That one's cute. That's my favorite.
It looks very Disney. In my mind, it looks very Disney, and I think whoever painted it really wanted to kind of depict that little Disney-looking doggy, So it's cute. And we have this at the gallery. If you have mom or grandma or somebody that you want to give a little gift to, that they might like. That's especially if they're dog owners, right? So we didn't have any cats. I couldn't find a cat. In fact, we didn't even have a cat statue. Usually we have like some kind of bronze, like,
we're saving
Egyptian.
that. We're saving that.
We're going to do that another time.
But
again, my point is like all the cat. So in the store, cat stuff will sell quickly. Dog stuff sells quickly. Like we have tigers, we have elephants, we have other bronzes.
We have a lot of elephants.
A lot of elephants, bronzes. And, they sell once in a while. But when it comes to a dog or a cat, it's gone in no time.
All right, folks. So just a reminder then. So Hang 8 at Flagler Beach this weekend. And we'll help benefit our local dog sources, which is great. Our latest estate sale, it's called Goldilocks, We Have Your Chair. And I know everybody's going to be like, what is this all about? What is she talking about? Well, you need a gimmick. You need something good to click on that link. The lady has so many chairs throughout the house. You can't tell me you can't find something that's going to fit you right. We have Hitchcock chairs, rush seat chairs, ladder back chairs. There's recliners in leather. There is one in upholstery that is a Queen Anne style chair. There are benches and banquettes. I mean, there's just loaded with beautiful,
are the pictures
beautiful
up
chairs.
On the website?
Pictures are up, DianaFineArt.com. Goldilocks, We Have Your Chair. That's 55 Village Circle. The new arrivals at the gallery, we have a beautiful pub table that came in with Windsor chairs. They're pub height. And we have that beautiful rosewood carved chairs. I love that pair.
No.
I know there's no room.
This is the same as when someone comes in for a cat or a dog, and the wife says no. I'm the husband that says no. No rosewood chairs.
Yeah.
Something's got to go out, though.
I know.
So if you want to bring it in, it's okay, but something's got to go out.
Well, you know I'm eyeing those Savonarola chairs. Those are from a church.
The stress I'm under, Mark.
They're just absolutely beautiful. So we have a pair of those. Just a shout out. What a successful singer and songwriter festival. We had Gary Lubai come in. What a great event that was. I really enjoyed it. And First Coast Opera's event, they just had the Legend of Turanda, and that was another fantastic event. Our upcoming Estate Planning Council meeting is going to be in June, and we're going to be talking about senior housing trends and where, what's going on with seniors. They're downsizing. Where are they going? How are they doing it?
Which is another issue, even for Amy, because the seniors have dogs that they can no longer care for, and that's very heartbreaking. But I know you work really hard to get those dogs found a home, so that the senior knows that the dog's home safe.
For sure.
That's nice.
And then lastly, we need to plug the Flagler County Historical Society. Bunnell History Day is coming up. We had Ed, the director, come on our show, and it's coming up. It's June 7th. So please set that day aside and join in on the fun. It's going to be quite an event in downtown Bunnell. And just what's coming up on our show, we have the director of the Veterans Museum coming in for Memorial Day. And we have the Daytona Tortugas coming in.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's going to be a lot of fun. They,
if you remember, I did a hot dog contest there years ago.
Oh, that's right.
When we had our hot dog hut.
And then we'll talk about baseball memorabilia and trading cards and collections that we have on view. So that wraps it up, folks. Thank you so much.
Can we give Amy one more plug here? Amy, tell us about your show one more time. And where is the Humane Society located?
The shelter is at 1 Shelter Drive in Palm Coast. So if we're on US 1, basically, if you take Palm Coast Parkway until it dead ends if you're heading west, and then hang a right, we're just ahead on the right hand side. So yeah, we're open 7 days a week. Come out and see all the animals and adopt.
Right, or donate and give them help, and everything you do is a good thing to save a life of any small animal. Thank you, Amy. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, your pin. Your brooch.
Brooch
of the day, please.
Brooch of the day. Here we are. Have a little dachshund. There it is.
Very cute.
He is cute, right? Shout out to Donna Higby.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.